Okay, good evening everybody. Welcome to all to this meeting of the Scrutiny Value for Money Council Committee on Wednesday, the 7th of January 2026. May I remind everyone present that this meeting is being broadcast live via YouTube, and the recording will be archived for future viewing. Could all councillors and officers ensure that when they speak, they switch their microphone on, and when they have finished speaking, switch their microphone off. This is extremely important for the live stream to ensure that the cameras will be focused on the individual who is speaking. Thank you. Item 1, to receive apologies for absence.
Thank you, Chair. We received apologies from Councillor Sankey, but we also have Councillor Phil Hudson and Councillor Rob Hawkins on Teams.
Thank you very much indeed. In terms of item 2, declarations of interest, do any councillors have any declarations of interest to declare on the items under discussion at this evening's meeting? On the 1st of October 2025. I propose the approval of the public minutes from the previous meeting. Do I have a seconder?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Councillor.
Yeah. My name's not on the present list of that meeting, although it's on the fact that I voted. I'm sure I was there. Yeah.
Okay, well, as indicated, we can amend those. Thank you for pointing that out. Councillor Shrive. Okay, so in terms of item 6, I propose the approval of the public minutes from the previous meeting. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Shrive, thank you. I'll now go to the vote. All those in favour? Okay, we'll defer. Thank you. Item 7, Value for Money Civic Function Suite, Burton Town Hall Scrutiny Review. The final report for the value for money of the Civic Function Suite, Burton Town Hall Scrutiny Review has been circulated. Are there any questions?
No questions, but just kind of an observation and comment on the report. I think overall, it is a very detailed and thorough report, and I think you can see that in the quantity and the quality of the data that's been captured, the length of the report, the scope of the topics that have been covered. I think there are some limitations that we came across when it came to doing the report, and I think some of that hinges on kind of getting to grips with the actual cost centres, given that some of the costs such as utilities are kind of proportional rather than actual and so on there. I think just a general observation from the report overall and the recommendations in it. I think the recommendations themselves are really good and solid, and I will be supporting the recommendations in there in the report itself. But I do think some of the recommendations that we've got in there and just where we are with kind of the events place overall, some of it does feel like we're kind of playing in the margins of what that scope and function could be. And I would hope that, I think one of the things that you could do to actually progress that is, in part of reviewing kind of the cost structures and the staffing model and so on, is having more dedicated staff within the council for the events function that are there to kind of drive interest in it and so on. And the hope would be that with the basis of these recommendations that are going forward from the committee, that the Cabinet now take them up and in full across all of those and try and be really ambitious with what they do with the recommendations to drive it forward, because I think we have got a great venue and great assets here that could be pushed forward if they kind of take up the opportunity with those recommendations. So that's kind of just the comments I wanted to make before we went straight into the vote.
Thank you very much, Councillor Clark. I share your sentiments and very well put. So we'll now go to the vote. All those in favour again, please. Okay, and that's carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 8, Scrutiny Review Programme Update. I now invite Sean to provide us with an update.
Thank you, Councillor. So, since the last full committee meeting, officers have been working to finalise the committee report, which has just been approved. This included incorporating the remaining amendments and securing the necessary approvals from both finance and legal. Obviously, these approvals were obtained and the report was ready for final approval. Now it will progress through CMT and the relevant governance groups before being presented to Cabinet later this year. Looking ahead for the committee, there are additional reviews planned following the completion of this report. One of the key areas identified previously was a comprehensive review of CCTV provision across the borough. However, before we proceed, the committee may wish to have a discussion and agree on the priority for the next review. Once this has obviously been decided, I can convene a meeting and agree on the scope and paper for the committee.
Are there any questions? No. Councillor Krupski.
Could I ask that because of the reorganisation of the government, I think when we look at the next topic for scrutiny, we need to look at one that is going to be viable. Does that make sense? So it's a worthwhile activity. Okay.
Yep, thank you. Thank you, Sean. Item 9, Public Executive Decision Records. List of public executive decisions have been circulated with the agenda. Does anyone have any questions on any of these? No? Good, we'll move on. Item 10, Quarter 2 Performance Report 25-26, Corporate Plan, Leisure Contract, Towns Fund, Programme, Insourcing Grounds Maintenance Contract. Corporate Communication Team Leader. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So this is an update on the 2025-26 Quarter 2 Performance Report, which reviews the Council's progress towards achieving its corporate priorities between July and September of last year, along with the latest updates on the Leisure Contract, Towns Fund Programme and the insourcing of grounds maintenance. For the corporate plan, each target has been graded using the usual traffic light system, and of the 98 live targets, 89.80 are green, 7.14% are amber, and 3.06% are red. The tables on pages 8 and 9 of the covering report show further analysis, including how those percentages break down across the corporate priorities, as well as individual cabinet portfolios. The red and amber targets are detailed in Table 3 on pages 11 through 14 of the report, which includes some commentary to provide additional context around the circumstances with each of those targets. Table 4 details a target which has been proposed for deletion, and Appendix 1 includes comprehensive data on all the indicators within the corporate plan. There are 3 recommendations within the report: to approve deletion of the target detailed in Table 4, to consider the overall report, and to note, in accordance with Executive Decision Record 497.25, the grounds maintenance insourcing project has been halted and that officers will now disengage the consultancy support and commence discussions with the existing grounds maintenance supplier. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Sean. I should have mentioned that to note that Appendix 2, 3 and 4 will be considered in the private part of the meeting. So if councillors have any points to discuss on these sections, please raise them in the private part of the meeting. But otherwise, are there any questions from any of the councillors? No, thank you very much. Thank you, Sean. We'll move on now to item 11, date of next meeting, which is scheduled to be Thursday, the 9th of April 2026. Thank you. And now we have, so we'll have 4 items to consider in private. So I will now move that in accordance with section 100A bracket 4 of the Local Government Act 1972, the press and the public be excluded from the remainder of the meeting as it's likely, in view of the nature of the business to be transacted or the nature of the proceedings, that there would be disclosed exempt information as defined in the paragraphs of Part 1 of Schedule 12A of the Act indicated in brackets before each item number on the agenda. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Shrive. So we'll now go to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you, that's unanimously passed.